Okay, so since we've been talking about a lot of linear equations, systems of equations, and all that, we've been doing a lot of work with the formula y equals mx plus b. Now, what we're going to start seeing is more and more equations that do not fit into this formula. So we're going to have to be able to change them. We saw that a little bit yesterday. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go over a ton of examples of changing a formula into slope-intercept form, into y equals mx plus b. Okay, so first example we're going to do, let's say you have 10x plus 3y equals 24. Now, we want it to be y equals mx plus b. What's the first reason you see that this is not in y equals mx plus b? What's something that's wrong here? What about it? All right. It looks to me like the y is in the right spot.
Oh, the x.
The x is in the wrong spot. The x is on the left side of the equal sign, where over here it's supposed to be on the right side of the equal sign. So we need to get rid of that x on the left side. So to do that, we need to do the opposite. What is the opposite of 10x?
Negative 10x.
Negative 10x. We're going to subtract 10x. And if I do that on the left, I've got to do that on the right. Minus 10x. Saw a lot of kids today who have just put minus 10. It's minus 10x. Right? We can't just take the x off for no good reason. Now, 10x minus 10x is what? 0. We have taken it away. It is no longer there. So only thing left on the left side of the equal sign is our 3y. Okay? Now, on the right side, we cannot do 24 minus 10x. We can't do it because we don't know what x is. If you think of PEMDAS, all right, PEMDAS is our order of operations. It tells us that multiplication and division has to happen before we can add or subtract. We can't do this multiplication. All right, we have to multiply before we can subtract. Since we can't do that multiplication, we can't actually do the subtraction. So those two numbers, the 24 minus 10x, we're just going to keep both of them. All right, so that will become negative, well, I'm going to do this in blue, negative 10x plus 24. I just took these numbers and dropped them down. I didn't actually do the subtraction. Does everybody see that? Okay, by doing that, it's looking more and more like this over here. What's the only thing that's wrong with this equation?
3y.
We have a 3y. We don't want 3y. All right, so do I want to get rid of the y altogether? No, so I'm not going to subtract. I don't want to get rid of the y. I just want it to be 1. So how do I change 3 into 1?
Negative 3. Subtract 3.
We're going to divide. All right, divide it by 3. Because what's 3 divided by 3?
1.
1. All right, so I'm going to divide everything by 3. Okay, like we just said, 3 over 3 is 1. So now I have 1y, which is what we wanted. Y equals negative 10 over 3 is now our slope. Right? Now, does negative 10 over 3 reduce? No, there's nothing that it reduces by. So we can just leave it as the fraction. Slope is a fraction anyway. Plus, what's 24 over 3? 8. Good. And we're done. Y equals mx plus b. Okay, I'm going to do quite a few more examples, but that's our first example. All right. We're going to end up doing the same process over and over. Okay, it doesn't really change very much. Okay, let's look at the problem. Let's say 1/2 x plus y equals 9. All right. What's the first thing I got to do? I got to move that x. Okay? So how do I get rid of 1/2 x?
Negative 1.
I'm going to subtract 1/2 x from both sides. Can I do 9 minus 1/2 x? 9 minus 1/2 x? Can you do that?
I think no.
Can't do that. 9 doesn't have an x. Negative 1/2 does have an x, so we can't do the subtraction. So what do I write? I'll just bring them down, just like we did last time. This goes here, this goes here. So I have negative 1/2 x, and it's a positive 9, so plus 9. And I'm done. That's y equals mx plus b. I didn't even need to divide on that one. Alright. So, let's say I have, let's go with 12x minus y equals 24. 12x is our first priority. We got to subtract 12x from both sides. What is that going to leave me with on the left side?
12.
On the left side.
No.
Nothing's going to be on the left side?
Oh, the x. No, the minus.
This cancels out, so what's left?
The minus. 24.
Negative y. It's the only thing over there. Okay? Is equal to, and we can't do the subtraction, so we just drop it down. Negative 12x plus 24. Are we done?
Yeah.
What's wrong with this?
You can have a negative.
We don't want, it's not negative y equals mx plus b, right?
Oh, so you have to get the.
You have to put negative for every single one.
We want to change this. So, how many y's is that actually? What's the number in front of the y? 1. That's actually a negative 1, right? So what do I need to divide everything by? Negative 1. Good.
We can make it a positive.
So yeah, what that's going to end up doing, and you could use your calculator, and it'll show you, all that's going to end up doing is just changing the sign on everything. This becomes a positive y. This becomes a positive 12x, and that becomes a negative 24, and we're done. You're going to see that it's over and over. It's subtract, or move the x over, and then divide if you need to. Okay? So let's do this one here. We got 2x minus 5y equals negative 15. All right, again, first thing we got to do is get rid of that 2x. So we're going to subtract 2x from both sides. All right, it cancels out. These will drop. And so you're left with negative 5y equals negative 2x plus a negative 15. Okay. We don't want the negative 5, so we're going to divide everything by negative 5. Y equals, if we have a negative on the top and the bottom, it becomes positive. So that's just 2/5 x, and then that would be a positive 3. And we're done. Okay? This is changing standard form, all right, into slope-intercept form. We're changing equations that are not already y equals mx plus b into y equals mx plus b. Okay? It's going to be a useful skill, especially tomorrow. We're going to get back into graphing systems of equations, graphing two lines, but those two lines are not going to already be in y equals mx plus b. We're going to have to change the equation and then graph it. It adds that extra step. Okay? But the rules still stay the same. We're going to end up doing the same stuff tomorrow. Okay? As for tonight, you're going to have 20 questions, all right, where they give you something like this, and you need to change it into y equals mx plus b. I can tell you this. The 5 or so examples that we just did are actually pulled directly from your homework. So that's nifty. Okay? All right.